national and international events, publications, and regular writings. Thus, as a part of our endeavor, we bring to you today's international web-based symposium on the Indian Ocean security challenges and strategies. We would like to thank University of Mumbai and Jawaharlal Nehru Rajkiya Mahavidyalaya JNRM Port Blair for extending support and collaborating with us for today's initiatives. It's a pleasure for us to have our Honorable Minister of Education, Skill Development and Entrepreneurship, Shri Dharmendra Pradhan with us as a part of Institute's endeavor and as well as in the inaugural session. We have distinguished guests and other distinguished speakers who are part of today's seminar with us, who have already joined us. So it's time for us to start. I would start with the welcome address. I would like to welcome our Honorable Director of the Institute, Shri Arindam Mukherjee with us. Thank you so much, sir, for being with us this morning. I would like to welcome Shri Dharmendra Pradhan, Honorable Minister of Education, Skill Development and Entrepreneurship. Thank you so much, sir, for being with us. It's an honor and a pleasure for the Institute as well as its collaborators to have you at the inaugural session of the proposed initiative. Thank you so much, sir, for being with us. We have Dr. Shakti Sinha, Honorary Director, Atal Bihari Vajpayee Institute of Policy Research and International Studies with us. Thank you so much, sir, for being with us. He's the keynote speaker for today's event. Thank you, sir. And of course, we have Professor Suhas Pednekar, Honorable Vice Chancellor, University of Mumbai with us. Thank you so much, sir, for being with us. Before we proceed, gentle request, participants who have joined us, I would request to please keep your microphone on a muted mode unless and until you are asked to speak. This is for the audience. We would like to proceed with our today's conference. I would like to request our Honorable Director, Shri Arindam Mukherjee, for his welcome address. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Konkona. Namaskar. Respected Sri Dharmendra Pradhan Ji, Honorable Minister, Department of Education, Skill Development and Entrepreneurship, Professor Subhas Pednekar, Vice Chancellor, University of Mumbai, Dr. Shakti Sinha, Honorary Director, Atal Bihari Vajpayee Institute of Policy Research and International Studies, and Mr. Gautam Chakraborty, Editor, Sagar Course. Distinguished guests, speakers, ladies and gentlemen, a warm welcome to all of you. Today, we have assembled here to participate in a meaningful disquisition on Indian Ocean Rim region titled Indian Ocean Security Challenges and Strategies. We all know that oceans play a very significant role that has a direct bearing of human life with wide socio-economic, political, and strategic implications. The Indian Ocean is one of the three biggest oceans in the world, and this region arguably today matters more than ever. The Indian Ocean region consists of 28 states, spans across the continents, and covers 17.5% of global land area. These 28 countries include 21 member countries of IORA. In 2027, this region has home of 35% of world's total population of 2.6 billion people. It is a major conduit for international trade, especially energy. 40% of world's offshore oil production takes place in the Indian Ocean basin. The ocean is also a valuable source of fishing and mineral resources. Fishing in the Indian Ocean now accounts for almost 15% of the total world production. The region also comprises some of the world's fastest growing nations. The geostrategic and economic position of the Indian Ocean compel major powers such as United States, Australia, Japan, United Kingdom, India, and China to seek stakes in the security of the IOR. During the Cold War, the Soviet Union wanted direct access to the IOR. Now China is looking for the same. The rise of China across the maritime region has compelled nations, including India, to reshape their maritime strategies. Realizing the virtue of India's geographical location at the heart of the Indian Ocean, the Indian government, under the leadership of Honorable Prime Minister Sri Narendra Modi, has laid out a comprehensive framework for India's engagement in its maritime neighborhood. India is preparing to take a larger responsibility for securing the Indian Ocean and promoting regional mechanisms for collective security and economic integration. As a part of this endeavor, India is rebuilding its relationship with the littoral countries of Indian Ocean. Our Honorable Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji himself has visited a number of countries for strengthening its bilateral, multilateral relations. To present government through its security and growth for all in this region, that means Sagar vision, aims at enhancing capacity to safeguard land and maritime territories and interests, deepening economic and security cooperation in the littoral, promotion collective action to deal with natural disasters and maritime threats like piracy, terrorism, and other non-state actors working towards sustainable regional development through enhanced collaboration, and engaging with countries beyond our shores with the aim of building greater trust and promoting respect for maritime rules, norms, and peaceful resolution of disputes along the IOR. Regional cooperation along with the Indian Ocean region has been a key feature of Indian foreign policy. India, as the founding member of regional organizations like Indian Ocean Rim Association for Regional Cooperation and BIMSTEC, is also carrying out its effort for promoting economic and technical cooperation, including expansion of trade, investment in the Indian Ocean region. In the sphere of infrastructure and economic development, India is investing and assisting in the development of maritime infrastructure in countries like Bangladesh, Myanmar, Sri Lanka, Iran, Indonesia, Thailand, and many more. In the strategic sphere of India and Mauritius, in 2015 had signed a MoU to improve air and sea facilities at the Agalega Island, beside having listening post and radar facility in Madagascar and a coastal surveillance radar in Seychelles. In 2018, India secured access to facilities at the port city of Duqm in Oman for Indian Air Force and Indian Navy. India has also upgraded its joint command at Andaman Nicobar Islands. China, for some time now, through its aggressive moves, is trying to advance its strategic interests in the region, particularly by gaining access to military bases and strategic posts by employment illiberal economic practices. In order to counter the military presence of China along with the threat of other non-state actors, India is carrying out regular bilateral and multilateral naval exercises with other littoral countries of Indian Ocean. Besides this, India, along with Japan, Australia, and the United States of America, is cooperating closely through the Quadrilateral Security Dialogue Quad to contain the growing Chinese presence in IOR. With the outbreak of Wuhan pandemic in early 2020, India has been instrumental in providing humanitarian help in the littoral countries of Indian Ocean region by supplying medicines, vaccines, and other medical, non-medical equipments, thus strengthening its ties with the countries of this region. The vaccine diplomacy of India has been a major success, uplifting India's position in this region. It is essential to mention that the present political crisis in Afghanistan is going to have an impact over the security aspect of Indian Ocean region, and a holistic analysis and assessment of the subsequent events in Afghanistan and its impact over IOR are needed to be taken into consideration. The Indian Ocean has always been significant in the academic endeavor of Institute of Social and Cultural Studies, which since its inception is carrying out meaningful research, disquisition, publication on various aspects of Indian Ocean region. In March 2015, Institute of Social and Cultural Studies organized a 3-day international conference on India and the Indian Ocean, renewing the maritime trade and civilizational linkages at Bhubaneswar, Odisha. In February 2016, Institute, along with Jawaharlal Nehru Rajakiya Mahavidyalaya, Port Blair, and supported by Andaman and Nicobar Joint Command, organized a 2-day conference titled Geopolitics and Maritime Security in the Indian Ocean and Indian Perspective. In subsequent years of 2017-18, India organized 2 international conferences at Nairobi, Kenya. The present webinar is a part of that ongoing academic endeavor to explore the various aspects of Indian Ocean region. I hope that the present academic deliberation by distinguished scholars will enlighten you on various important and emerging issues related to Indian Ocean. I thank all the participants who have joined the program and hope the program will achieve its desired aim. Thank you very much. Namaskar.
Thank you so much, sir, for your welcome address. I would now like to request our guest of honor, Honorable Minister of Education, Skill Development and Entrepreneurship, Shri Dharmendra Pradhan, for his address. Thank you, sir.
Konkona, I'm audible?
Yes, sir, you are audible.
Thank you. Sri Arindam Mukherjee, Director, Institute of Social and Cultural Studies. Dr. Shakti Sinha, Honorary Director, Atal Bihari Vajpayee Institute of Policy Research and International Studies. Professor Suhas Pednekar, Vice Chancellor, University of Mumbai. Distinguished speakers, ladies and gentlemen, my greetings to all of you. I express my gratitude to Institute of Social and Cultural Studies for inviting me to address this august gathering of academicians and intellectuals who will deliberate on a topic which holds prime importance in India's strategic thinking, Indian Ocean security challenges and strategies. I am happy to know that ISCS undertakes research on socio-cultural and has been conducting seminars, symposium, and conferences to promote social and national integration and further international understanding. Oceans have long determined the history of nations. The access to unshaped maritime routes, its safety and openness have influenced the shifting fault lines in the geopolitics. So also it is with the Indian Ocean where much of India's history has been contoured by the ocean that surrounds part of our land. Coming from the state of Odisha, we have grown up with stories of people from across the ocean with whom our ancestors from the textile background to spies to veterinarians. Our mythologies, languages, religions and architecture have spilled into each other in ways that have not yet been fully understood or explored thanks to our vibrant maritime trade. For instance, The word of mother in Bahasa Indonesia is bu, which is bow in Odia for us. Much before the European and Chinese sailed out for trade, we were using sea route for trade and cultural exchange. We still celebrate these links in Odisha in way to annual Bali Yatra festival or the Boita Bandhan festival held for 5 days around the month of November. On a full moon day called Kartik Purnima in November, the people of Odisha, earlier known as Kalinga and Utkal, float miniature paper boats symbolically marking the beginning of the sailing sessions and celebrating the state's vibrant past of maritime trade with the island of Java, Sumatra and Bali. Our interactions over centuries have extended beyond Indonesia to include expressions of shared heritage and cultural heritage that are dotted across the Indo-Pacific region and find expression stands of everyday life of the people. The shared living history of Hindus and Buddhist traditions is also engraved in glorious structures like the Angkor Wat temple in Cambodia. We are richer for the existence of such diversity. Our archaeological survey of India did a wonderful job in contributing to restoring the structure. I am happy to share that there were many Odia workers in that team. To cite another instance of our proximity owing to our vibrant maritime trade historically, the symbol of lion, which is of the vital importance among the Sinhalese, is equally labeled among us, the Odias. Narasimha, or the incarnation of Lord Vishnu, as half man and half lion, is worshipped in Odisha and is seen in many temple sculptures. However, Ocean not only connects us to the past with the ramification of the present, but also hold an important key to our future, both from a development and the security perspective. The ocean is the lifeline for the global commerce, and since 90% of India's trade and energy sources come via ocean, the stability of the water routes is a crucial imperative for our own security and growth, apart from a philosophical commitment to promoting peace. Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji aptly describes ocean as the common heritage from the humankind and a lifeline for the planet's future. It is also the thread where most of the geopolitics between the big and the small powers. Therefore, Prime Minister Modi has redefined India's approach towards Indian Ocean region, IOR, to ensure peace, security and sustainable development for all the stakeholders through a cooperative framework. The Modi government believes in reaching out to all friendly nations to renew and deepen strategic partnership in IOR. The IOR has significant potential in military, economic capabilities and the blue economy to ensure inclusive growth and substantial job creation. The government is advancing a comprehensive agenda of regional cooperation through Indian Ocean Rim Association, which further not only better security components but also emphasize the development of a blue economy. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has time and again emphasized his vision for the IOR, especially in the 2015 with the initiation of the concept of Sagar, security and growth for all in the region, inclusive Indo-Pacific and the Indo-Pacific Ocean initiative. This brings together both security and development dimensions. The emergence of Indo-Pacific represents a new strategic reality of 21st century that places significant importance on the India as a key player in the region. India's own Sagarmala program, a 120 billion initiative to upgrade and further develop the country's coastal and maritime infrastructure, is built around an emphasis on the blue economy with elements like port modernization, port link industrialization, coastal community development and connectivity. We have also been forging cooperation around the blue economy with our neighbors, ASEAN, Australia and Japan, African partners and BRICS. India's participation in the quadripartite partnership with Japan, US, and Australia holds great significance in the spirit of protecting the global commons. Prime Minister Modi earlier this month at the United Nations Security Council high-level open debate laid our 5 principles on the issue of maritime security. Removing barriers from legitimate maritime trade, this vision is of a safe and secure and stable maritime domain where we also respect the rights of each other's sailors. So there is an inclusive ethos to maritime trade. The settlement of maritime dispute must be peaceful and on the basis of international law only, which will generate mutual trust and confidence. A collective effort to face natural disasters and maritime threats created by non-state actors like piracy. Preservation of maritime environment and maritime resources. India has launched an ambitious deep ocean mission with this end in mind. Encouraging responsible maritime connectivity, freedom of unimpeded commerce and secure navigation will play a dominant role in the ensuring prosperity and the destiny of the planet. India stands for a free, open and inclusive regions which will ensure to the common object of the progress and prosperity for all stakeholders involved. I'm sure the ideas that emerge from the deliberations of this international web-based conference will enhance our understanding on the matter. I look forward to its outcome and thank you again for inviting me today. I wish you all luck. Thank you, friends.
Thank you so much, sir, for sharing your remarks and valuable observation on the proposed issue. Thank you so much once again. I would now like to request our keynote speaker, Dr. Shakti Sinha, to share his observations on the proposed issue.
Thank you very much, Konkana. Just heard the Honourable Minister describe in great detail various challenges and the initiatives taken. The Vice Chancellor of Mumbai University, Professor Pendekar, my old friend Harindam Mukherjee, and his team at the Institute of Social and Cultural Studies. For the past few years, as Harindam described, has been such a lot of work in it. And of course, the Jawaharlal Nehru Rajkiya Mahavidyalaya, which I first knew in 1983 as just the Rajkiya Mahavidyalaya or Government College Port Blair. It's good to see them also here. It's an institution that, as I said, I've been involved with off and on for a long time. Now, Harindam has laid out a fair amount of challenges, so that makes my life a little easier. Now, historically, and when I say historically, I mean over the last 2.5 centuries,